So yesterday we talked about the applicability of the Customs Act. The first thing what the Act applies, the purpose of the Act, and every word related to that purpose. We defined that the Act is meant for levy and collection of duty on import of goods into India and export of goods from India. What is the meaning of the word goods? What is the meaning of word India? What is export? Every word we define, including what is called baggage, what is called stores. So that is a very informative requirement or rather need for understanding this act. Without understanding those words, the clarity never comes. You can read, you can remember, but when it comes to clarity, that is will be missing unless every aspect or rather those aspects are very, very clear to you. Okay. So today we start again with this act. And as I told you, that number of definitions are there, but definitions are never done at the same time. Definitions are done as and when those are required. So today also we are going to do the same thing. We'll do the definition, we'll come back to the definition portion as and when required. Otherwise, we are going ahead with the provisions. So first we'll do the provisions from section 3 to section 10. And then we will come back to the provisions regarding import. Some of the things you will find a lot of similarity what you have studied before, section 3 to section 6, that is regarding the officers. And here you will find a similarity of what you have studied in GST. Right. There also section 3, 4, 5, 6 are same. Here also we have the same provision. Right. Here, section 3 says classes of officers. These are not the designation, these can also be the designation. Right? Like Principal Commissioner of Customs, Principal Chief Commissioner, then Chief Commissioner, Principal Commissioner, then Commissioner, Commissioner Appeal, Joint Commissioner. These are the classes, or you can say categories of officers. These may or may not be the designation. Right? Say, for example, Director Investigation. Now, that doesn't come anywhere in this designation chart. Right? So, if you take it as a designation, then certainly there is bound to be confusion because lots of designations are there which are not referred here. So be clear that these are not the designations, these are classes of officers. So Principal Chief Commissioner, Chief Commissioner, Principal Commissioner, Commissioner, Commissioner Appeals, Joint Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner, plus other junior classes of officers. Right? So this is only for remembrance. What is the title? How many designation? How many classes are there? Start again. We have Principal Chief Commissioner, Chief Commissioner, Principal Commissioner, Commissioner, Commissioner Appeal, Joint Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, Additional Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner, and other junior officers. How the appointment is made? Subsection 4 says the board may appoint such person as it thinks fit. And then board, without prejudice to provisions of section 1, the board may authorize the Principal Chief Commissioner or Chief Commissioner or Principal Commissioner or Joint Commissioner or Assistant or Deputy Commissioner to appoint the officer below the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Customs. So officers below the rank of Assistant Commissioner, they are referred as junior officers. Assistant Commissioner and above, they are referred as senior officers. Right. But make a note of that. Assistant Commissioner cannot appoint, sorry, these senior officers can always make appointment of the junior officer. So for junior officer, there are two possibilities that the board can appoint as well as these senior officers can appoint. And as far as junior officers are concerned, then both can appoint. So see here. Section 4. This is about appointment. Whose appointment? Certainly, we are talking about appointment of the officers. Senior officers and junior officers. What is the meaning of senior officer? This is principal chief commissioner, chief commissioner, commissioner, then commissioner appeals, joint commissioner, deputy commissioner, assistant commissioner. All these are referred as senior officers. So principal, chief commissioner, commissioner, commissioner appeals, joint commissioner, deputy commissioner, assistant commissioner, and officers below that. As far as these officers are concerned, they are appointed by the central board only. They are appointed by central board only. Okay. As far as junior officers are concerned, there are two ways. Number one, central board can appoint. And number two, senior officers can appoint if so authorized by the central board, the CBIT. They don't have a statutory right to make appointment of the junior officer. They have a right only if so appointed by the Central Board of Indirect Taxes. Okay. Now, below this itself, Section 5 is here. These are powers exercisable by officers. What are the powers which are exercisable by the officers? Okay. So below that only you can continue. Adjudicating authority and appellate authority. Or you can simply write commission appeals. Because here we are talking about the power of officers. So in this category, we will not talk about the appellate tribunal. So in this, what we are talking about, only commissioner appeal. What are his powers? So the section 5 is giving that very clearly. As far as adjudicating authority is concerned, what is the meaning of adjudicating authority? The officers who are authorized to take decisions and to pass orders in relation to compliance of the provisions of the Act. who have to ensure or who are responsible for ensuring compliance with the provisions of the act, they are called adjudicating authority. Administration of the provisions within the given jurisdiction. That is the word adjudication. Administration of the provisions within the given jurisdiction. That becomes adjudication. So adjudicating authority means the officers who are authorized to take decisions and to pass orders, but only in relation to compliance. Right. So whether there's a compliance or non-compliance, so orders are passed generally only in relation to non-compliance. There are no orders for the compliance. Right. So when they can pass and when they can take a decision and they can pass an order, they are referred as adjudicating authority. So every officer can exercise powers given to him under the Act, plus every officer can also exercise powers given to his subordinate officers. So whatever powers are given to him, those are certainly exercisable by him. But in addition to that, he can also exercise the power of his subordinate officer. Now, if you look at the designation of Commissioner Appeal, then Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner are certainly below him. But the Commissioner Appeal is Appellate Authority. So here, same provisions are applicable, but Commissioner Appeal cannot exercise power of adjudicating authority. So here also you can say that this is same, this is same. So what is the difference? Right. So the difference is the Commissioner Appeals rightful. The Commissioner Appeals cannot exercise powers of adjudicating authority. The Commissioner Appeal. Why? For the simple reason, the role of appellate authority begins only after the end of role of adjudicating authority. Appellate authority has no role in the process of adjudication. Once the adjudication order is passed, once the officer has passed an order against somebody that you have failed to comply with the provisions of the act, and that's why you should not be punished, then he can go and file an appeal. Unless there is an order, there is no role for the appellate authority. Right. And once the appellate authority is there, then adjudicating authority has no role. So both are absolutely separate from each other. But there is one thing common among the two. This and this. Only one thing is common. And that is power to summon any person in respect of any proceeding pending before them. So adjudicating authority as well as appellate authority, both are having one common power. Otherwise, I said here, the powers are different, here the powers are different. And where the role of adjudicating authority, then the role of appellate authority begins. Only one common power among both of them. So for that, you can close the chart like this, right? and then I will write here. Is it noted?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Hmm. The adjudicating authority and appellate authority, or you can simply write commission of appeal, no problems, are equally entitled to summon attendance of any person in connection with any subject before them. The adjudicating authority as well as appellate authority are equally entitled. Now, this is the only case where the powers of adjudicating authority and appellate authority are same. Otherwise, earlier I have already explained you the distinction between the two, where the role of adjudicating authority ends. Therefrom, the role of appellate authority may begin provided appeal is filed. If appeal is not filed, there is no question, there is no role for the appellate authority. And once the matter is with the appellate authority, then adjudicating authority will have no role. Okay. In GST also we talked about that where any order is subject matter of appeal, even a revision cannot be there. Even correction of error cannot be there. Right? So rectification of error is also not possible when the appeal is pending or appeal has been filed in relation to the subject matter for which appeal has been or that appeal has been filed. So once the matter comes to appellate authority, then the role of adjudicating authority is no more there. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Now here from we go to section 6. Okay. Section 6. This section simply authorizes the central government to delegate the authority or powers of the custom officer to any other officer of the central government or state government. And that becomes necessary. Why? Because custom officer is not there everywhere. Right? Mainly custom officers are at the border, on the sea coast, right? Or at the port, at the airport. They're not there throughout the country. But provisions are applicable throughout the country. So how the government is going to ensure that provisions are actually applied? So provisions are applied this way. So under section 6, government is authorized to delegate authority of the custom officer to any other officer of the central government or state government. And when the person to whom the powers have been delegated, he is exercising the powers for every purpose, he will be treated as a custom officer. For every purpose, he will be treated as a custom officer. So he is not a custom officer, but he will be treated as if he is a custom officer. So section 6, point number 1. Central government may delegate role of custom officer to any other officer that may be central government, that may be state government, right? Delegation, this is the word used is entrusting. The word delegation is not there. It is entrusting. So entrusting is slightly much more than the only delegation. So government is keeping a trust and giving him the authority to exercise that powers. Delegation means government keeps the responsibility and the right to exercise is given to somebody. So entrusting is a slightly much more stronger word than the word delegation. So this says central government may delegate the role of custom officer to any officer of the central government or state government. When any such officer exercises powers under this act, is treated as custom officer. For every purpose, he will be treated as if he is a custom officer. So this is one chapter, section 3, 4, 5, 6 under the Customs Act. Prima facie, it is a very small thing, but it is one chapter under the Customs Act. Section 3, categories of officers. Section 4, appointment. Section 5, powers. And Section 6, entrusting of powers to other officers by the central government. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now see here. Section 4, we had seen appointment. Now Section 5, powers. Subject to such condition limitation the board may impose. An officer of custom may exercise the powers and discharge the duties conferred or imposed on him under the Act. Now see the chart given under Section 5. Check the chart. Number 2. An officer of custom may exercise the power and discharge the duties conferred or imposed under his act or any other officer of custom who is subordinate to him. So officer can also exercise the powers which are given to his subordinate. Number 3. Notwithstanding anything contained in the section, a commissioner of appeal shall not exercise the power and discharge the duties conferred or imposed on officer of the customs, other than those specified in chapter 15, section 108. So section 108 is power to summon. Right. So that is the only thing common between adjudicating authority and commissioner of appeal. Otherwise, powers are absolutely different. Section 6, entrustment of functions of the board and central officer. The central board may, by notification of the official gazette, entrust either conditionally or unconditionally to any officer of the central or state government or local authority any function of the board or officer of the customs. So I've forgotten to mention local authority, add that also. The central government can entrust the functions, central government, state government / local authority. Are these provisions clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we move to the next chapter. So this was chapter number 2. See here. Chapter number 2 of the Customs Act. This is not the chapter number 2 of your study material, right? Now chapter number 3. In this we have section 7 to section 10. Section 9 has been omitted. Section 7, section 8, section 10. So this is another small chapter. So under section 7, this is talking about appointment of the custom port, airport, etc. What is the meaning of the word appointment? The word appointment simply means fixation. This is appointment of various places. Which are those places? What is the purpose? Everything is answered under section 7. Can you see something written on the board now? Or not?
Sir, we can only see the shared screen, not the whiteboard.
Okay, that is not coming to you.
No, sir.
Okay, good enough. So that is understanding for me that how much screen I should use. So here what you see is the shared screen, section 7, appointment of custom port, etc. What I am using the word various places, right? So write the titles of section 7, appointment or fixation of various places. Don't write the word custom port, airport, etc. because that in any case will cover up. What are the appointments? This says the board. Board means the central board. By notification, the official gazette appoint, number 1, the ports and airport which alone shall be custom port or custom airport for unloading or imported cargo and loading of the export goods or any class of such goods. Then the places which alone shall be container depot at the air freight station and unloading of the imported goods and loading of export goods and class of goods. Then places alone which shall be the land custom stations. The route by which alone the import export goods should be moved. The ports which alone shall be the ports for local, and the post offices which are known as the foreign post offices, as well as the places which are international courier terminals. Now, see here. Appointment of various places. Which are these places? Number 1, I will say place of import or export. Now, before we proceed, let me ask you one question. What is the applicability of the provisions of this act on a travel of passenger between India and outside India? What is the applicability?
Sir, to the baggages carried by them.
Applicable only to goods.
Yes. Provisions are applicable only in relation to baggage. This act does not deal with the individual. Right? So it is not concerned with who's coming, who's going out. Question is what he is carrying, what he is taking. Right? So to that extent, only provisions are applicable. So when we say places of import and export, so which are these places for import and export? All these three things taken together, these are referred as places of import and export. Import, or you can say unloading of the imported goods and only at this place. Export of the goods only from these places. Attempted import at any other place. Attempted export from any other place, that is a smuggling. Very thin line between the smuggling and import export. If these are the places where from only import and export activity should take place, anything else that will be treated as a smuggling activity. And in these places also subject to proper compliance. Say for example, some passenger is coming, he is carrying lots of jewelry, he is required to make a disclosure He does not make a disclosure. So goods are coming through the proper channel, that is custom airport, but he fails to make a declaration. That is also a case of smuggling. So not only the places, in addition to places, proper compliance of the provisions is also required. Right. So these are places. So import export only from these places, cannot be at any other place. Is it clear? Because contravention also you should understand. Import export even done or attempted beyond or from any place other than these three, that will be treated as smuggling activity. Number two, container freight stations. So when the quantity of the goods to be exported is small and that is required to be stuffed in a container, then those are separate depots. Once container is ready, then it is sent to the custom port or custom airport. So those places will also be appointed here, because the simple reason is that once container is closed, it is not going to be retested at the custom port or custom airport. So that's why whatever procedure has to be done, that is to be done at this place before container is stuffed completely. Okay. Number three, foreign post office as well as international courier terminal. Foreign post office, every post office may accept the letter or the document for being sent abroad. But when it comes to actually sending the abroad, it will be sent only through foreign post office. Any article coming to by post from outside India, it will come to appointment of. Appointment means fixation. We're not talking about appointment of the officers in these places. No. Appointment means these places are declared by the central board. Right. So what is being declared? So that these declared that this port will be the custom port, this port will be the domestic port. So that declaration is being made here. It is not appointment in, it is appointment of. Is it okay? See the chat box, it's a question there. Nilakandan, your doubt is clear or not? So anyway, so here foreign post office, courier has also been recognized. This recognition has come 3 years before. Earlier, it was not there. Of course, the courier was doing the activity of import, export of the things, but now they have a formal recognition under the Customs Act also. So there is a specific place where all the handling of the import, export cargo through courier is handled. Number 4, domestic port airport. Only for domestic transportation. Now it is the responsibility of the customs to ensure that this custom port, custom airport is not used for domestic transportation. And domestic port airport are not used for the purpose of international shipping. So you will find presence of custom department at both the places, at domestic port airport also, as well as at international port airport also. But presence at domestic port airport is minimal. They will just ensure that these places are not used for the purpose of import and export, domestic. And these will not be used for the purpose of domestic. So that is the responsibility of the custom department to ensure. Number 5, Route can also be fixed by the government. Some gentleman calling, just hold on, please. So route I was talking about, when goods are coming to India, those should enter India only through a proper route. When going out of India, again, a proper route has to be followed. Otherwise, if the route is diverted, that can also be a case of either smuggling or attempted smuggling. So all these places are appointed under Section 7. Who makes appointment? Central Board of Indirect Taxes. Okay. So all these places are appointed under Section 7. Now, Section 8 is slightly narrow as compared to Section 7. Let me explain you, then we will refer what is there in the Section 8. Is this portion clear?
Yes, sir.
Section 8. This is appointment of custom area. Who is appointing? Who is exercising the powers? Here the powers are being exercised by the commissioner. Under Section 7, who exercise the powers?
CBIT.
TB8.
Central Board of CBI. Okay. So that is also important to understand under which section who is authorized to exercise the powers. So here the powers are exercisable by the commissioner, right? And these places are where the custom area will be appointed at a custom port or custom airport, right? Now see what exactly this means. As far as under Section 7, CBIT has declared Mumbai Airport as custom airport, right? This is a fact, and it is not new. For number of years, Mumbai Airport is a custom airport. Now, this airport is this big, right? And there are two strips here. And two buildings are here. This is for international and this is for domestic. Now the problem is, it is only one airport. A similar situation is there at every airport. Mumbai, I am giving you example. That CBIT said Mumbai airport is the custom one. So the whole airport should be a custom airport. No. Under Section 8, the commissioner having jurisdiction at Mumbai airport is authorized to fix the area to be called as custom area. It is not the whole airport. I'll explain you what is the purpose of custom area. But first understand this. The CBIT is declaring that the Mumbai airport is a custom airport. And under section 8, the commissioner having jurisdiction over the Mumbai airport will decide which area will be called as custom area. So now let's assume that the commissioner of customs declare that this area is the custom area. It is not the whole airport, because keeping the watch on the entire airport, where usually 500 aircrafts land every day and 500 take off, will be very, very difficult for the custom authority. So he declared that only this portion is the custom area. Now I will tell you what is the relevance of custom area, which is not the part of section 8. Just understand the relevance of custom area. So is this portion is understood what is the meaning of custom area?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now put a title. Relevance of custom area. Number 1. Embarking, disembarking of international passengers, embarking, disembarking both, only in custom area. Relevance of custom area. Number 2, loading of export cargo, and unloading of import cargo. This is also only in this area. Embarking, disembarking of passenger, loading, unloading also in this area. Goods brought in this area. Cannot be removed. So goods brought in this area cannot be removed without authority or you can write the word permission. This is relevance of custom area, which is not a part of section 8. But without understanding this becomes difficult. So section 8 says the commissioner having jurisdiction over the custom port airport is authorized to fix the area to be called as custom area. What is the relevance? This is here. Loading, unloading of export, import, cargo, embarking, disembarking of international passenger. And number 3, once goods are brought in this area, under any circumstances, those cannot be removed without the authority from the officer or without the permission from the officer. Now, the removal, for what purpose it can be? Understand? We said that those goods cannot be removed. Now, removal can be for what purpose? Below this, you can write below that. Purpose of removal of goods. Here we have written goods cannot be removed without a permission. Understand something more. What is the purpose of removal of goods? Can I clear this?
Yes, sir.
Purpose number 1. Export. Without permission of the officer, goods cannot be loaded on the vessel or aircraft for being exported. That's why the bill of shipping is filed. Bill of export is filed. Right? So bill of export is not the permission whether goods can be exported or not. There is a permission for loading of the goods. So that is brought on record of the government that these goods are being exported. Number 2. Transshipment. Transshipment means what? There we are going to talk about transit and transshipment. So transshipment means goods are unloaded at the custom port or airport, and without being cleared therefrom, those are sent to some other place. And that some other place may be in India, maybe outside India. That is called a transshipment. Goods unloaded at custom port airport and sent to some other place. That is called transshipment. Goods unloaded at the custom port airport and sent to another place, that another place may be in India, may be abroad. And that is done without paying any duty. So when the goods are being sent outside India, in any case, duty is not required. But when the goods are being sent within India to another place, without paying duty at the place of arrival, that is more important. That is a transshipment. Number 3, transit. In this case, goods are not unloaded. So if goods are not being unloaded, how the Custom Act is applicable? Applicable because goods are brought in custom area and those cannot be removed therefrom without the permission of the officer. Whether loaded or unloaded, that is not the question. Even if goods are on the conveyance means it may be vessel, aircraft, etc. Once it is brought in the custom area, those cannot be removed therefrom without the permission of the officer. That we have already seen before. Right? So even in case of transit, permission of the officer is required. How it is done, I will see it later on. Number 4. Warehousing. What is warehousing under customs? Any idea?
Storage place, sir.
Storage?
Place.
Something more. Certainly, warehouse means a place of storage. What more? I'm writing here this one. Okay, below this. So you can write below this. Point number 1, dash. Very good music. Where from it is coming? So first of all, the concept of warehousing is relevant only for imported goods. What is the meaning of imported goods for the purpose of customs? First point I said relevant for the purpose of import only. Then I'm saying goods brought to India from outside India are referred as imported goods until appropriate duty has been paid or applicable duty has been paid. Once duty is paid, then whether those are imported or not. For a layman, those will continue to be imported goods forever. But for the purpose of customs, goods are referred as imported goods only until duty is paid. Once the duty is paid, purpose of the act is over, those will no more be referred as imported goods. So the concept of warehousing is relevant only for imported goods. So imported goods are those which are brought to India from outside India, but applicable duty has not been paid. Okay, so underline this. Imported goods are allowed to be deposited in warehouse. Warehousing provisions (57 to 73A). So this is only an introduction that goods can be removed from custom area for warehousing also. Now the question will be, why to keep the goods in the warehouse? That is because of section 48. Section 48 says goods shall be removed from custom area within 30 days. Since those are brought in therein, unless extension is granted by the commissioner, otherwise those goods can be disposed of by way of public auction. Those goods can be disposed of. So goods are required to be removed from custom area. And if you are not, as importer, if you are not removing the goods by paying the duty, you are authorized to keep the goods in the warehouse. The warehousing facility is only in relation to imported goods. And last purpose for removal, is it noted?
Yes, sir.
Number 5. removal for home consumption. I think meaning of this I have given you before. After paying applicable duty. So when goods are removed after the payment of the applicable duty, that is called as removal for home consumption. So these are modes of removal of goods from custom area. So section 8 is there. Section 8 says goods brought in custom area cannot be removed therefrom without the permission of the officer. Now removal can be for export, removal can be for transit, it can be for transshipment, it can be for warehousing, it can be for home consumption. So, meaning of every word should be known. And is it clear or understood?
Yes, sir.
Section 9 is not there. That has been omitted. Section 9 earlier that talked about appointment of the warehousing station. So that is no more relevant. Section 10 these are places of embarkation and disembarkation of officers at custom port. This section is only for the custom port, not even airport. And this section is saying that the commissioner having jurisdiction at the custom port can fix the places where from an officer can embark on any vessel and also the places where the officer should disembark. Within that area only, officers will have a right to authority to embark and disembark. Because that area is under the total control of the custom department and this provision is meant for the safety of the officer. Right. So where from they are embarking, everything is under the control of customs. And before the vessel departs from that place, everything is under the control, so they can disembark. So nothing wrong can happen within this area. Outside this, risk is involved. So to eliminate the chances of risk, the provision has been made that the commissioner having jurisdiction over the custom port can fix the places where from officer can embark on any vessel and where they should disembark. So the commissioner having So the commissioner having jurisdiction over the custom port can fix the places, what for, where from officer can embark on any vessel and the places where they should disembark. Okay. So this is another chapter under the Customs Act. Now, if you have noted, we can go on the text and refer the text, what is given there.
Noted, sir.
So we go to this portion. Now see, section 8, what it says, power of approved lending places specify the limit of customs area. The principal commissioner or the commissioner of customs may approve proper places in custom port, custom airport, coastal port for unloading and loading of the goods for any class and specify the area which is a custom area. So custom area once appointed, that is automatically a fixed place for loading, unloading, embarking, disembarking. Section 9 already omitted. Section 10 says the principal commissioner of customs or commissioner by notification in the official gazette appoint in or near the custom port a boarding station for the purpose of boarding or disembarkation from vessels by officers of the customs. So this is chapter 3 under the Customs Act, section 7, section 8, section 10. Section 9 does not exist, that has been omitted. I hope everything is simple and clear till now.
Sir.
Now we move to the next section, and that is about prohibited goods. Prohibited goods. So prohibited under section 11. The central government may prohibit import or export or both of any article, either absolutely or conditionally. Who is entitled to exercise the powers here?
Central government.
Here it is central government. Under section 7, who exercise the powers? Start from section 4. Under section 4, who exercise the powers?
CBA.
Section 4, appointment. Who exercise the powers? CBIT. Right? Under section 6, who delegated the authority?
The central government.
The
Central
central
government.
government. Under section 7, again appointment of various places. Who made the appointments?
CBIT.
CBA.
CBIT. Under section 8, the custom area. Who did that?
The
Commissioner.
commissioner.
Under section 8, places of embarkation. Who did that?
The commissioner.
Again the commissioner, right? And under section 11, who's doing? Central government. So the central government may prohibit either import or export of both of any article, either absolutely or conditionally. Right. So when it is conditional, and if condition is satisfied or fulfilled, then prohibition does not apply. So when it is a conditional, it should not be called as a prohibition, that should be referred as a restriction. But by chance it is being referred as a prohibition. So now continuation. Where prohibition is conditional, and if condition is satisfied, prohibition does not apply. What do you understand from this? Tell me, what do you understand? Any example that comes to your mind about the conditional restriction or prohibition? I've given, for example, arms and ammunition. Whether import of arms and ammunition is prohibited or not.
Prohibited.
Yes, sir. Prohibited.
Maybe they have license, then probably they are.
If those are prohibited, where from army gets missiles? How come Air Force got the new fighter aircraft?
They have to be procured by the authority. Then it is not.
There has to be a proper authorization, right? I've said arms and ammunition. Take example, explosives. Every mining company requires explosives. So if they don't have a license, how do they import? Right? So these are called conditional prohibition. If you fulfill the condition, prohibition doesn't apply to you. Otherwise, it is prohibited. Getting the example?
Yes, sir.
Right? So these are not prohibited. Now, say for example,
Conditionally prohibited.
that is conditionally prohibited. Right? Now, shooting, that is gun, revolver, those are also part of Olympic Games. Right? Now, if somebody is participating in that game, how does he acquire the revolver or the gun? Unless he is having the license. So once he is having the license, he is authorized to procure those things, otherwise cannot. So that is the meaning of conditional prohibition. So under this section, the government is having authority to prohibit import or export, or both, either conditionally or unconditionally. And further said, if it is conditional and the condition is satisfied, prohibition does not apply. Is this part clear?
Clear, sir.
Now, some examples why import should be prohibited and why export should be prohibited. Only example. There is a long list in the section, but I want you to understand. Why the import should be prohibited. Protection of domestic industry, protection as well as promotion, both, not only protection. Public health, safety, property, ecology. All protection is the responsibility of the government. Maintenance of law and order, export, to ensure supply availability, in India, protection of national heritage, right? These are few examples. This is not the end of the list. And there is something common also for both. But before we refer, let's see what is there in the section 11. You'll get to know more. See here. The central government is satisfied that it is necessary so to do for any of the purposes specified in subsection 2. It may, by notification in the official gazette, prohibit either absolutely or subject to such condition to be fulfilled before or after clearance as may be specified in the notification, the import or export of goods or of any specified description. So this is what I said. The central government is empowered to prohibit import or export or both of any of the articles, either conditionally or unconditionally. Now, what are the reasons? See, now here's a list, and there is no bifurcation import export. I have tried to make it separate. The what is for on what grounds import can be prohibited and on what grounds export can be prohibited. Maintenance of security. Plants and seeds. What kind of plants and seeds were those? Those may not be suitable for India as per law. As per law. We don't go into the reality. As per law, those may not be allowed. Right. Now, by chance, if you happen to go to New Zealand, literally no cooked food is allowed to be entered there. No green vegetables can be taken. No food items can be taken to New Zealand. Right. And so many times they require the footwear also to be washed at the airport itself. Even the dust is not allowed to enter there. Right. So number of reasons are there. We don't know exactly what kind of flowers were those, and those may be prohibited as per law. Right. That is one. And the prohibition was in India or in Nepal? Nepal. So that is as per their law. Quite possible that is their specialty. They don't allow the plants or the seeds to be exported therefrom. Okay. But in Nepal, generally, they don't check anything at the airport. Do they check anything? Yes, that is unfortunate only. I've I've traveled very frequently to Nepal, and not even a single time anything has been checked. Not even a single time. Very frequently I've traveled. Hmm. So I take lots of lectures in Kathmandu. Hmm. Anyway, so here just few examples we're talking about. Now again come back to the list. So the maintenance of the security, maintenance of public order and standard of decency, then the prevention of smuggling, then prevention of the shortage of the goods. This is it, to ensure supply. Conservation of foreign exchange, prevention of injury to the economy, prevention of surplus of agricultural products. Then maintenance of standards of classification, establishment of any industry, prevention of serious injury to domestic production, protection of the human, animal, plant life, protection of national treasure of the artistic, historic, and archaeological value, conservation of the exhaustive natural resources. These are the reasons given, a long list, and I want you to read that list number of times so that by chance if there is some question on that you can answer. Chances of question being there are very, very less, and there are certain common reasons also. There are some of the reasons are common, so these are some I've given specific. You can add more and leave some space for adding more, then close and then write. Protection of intellectual property rights, right? So import export both can be prohibited because of that, or any direction from United Nations, or again common number 3, any bilateral agreement. These are some of the reasons on the basis of which import and export both can be prohibited. Otherwise, for import, these are the main reasons. For export, these are the main reasons. There is a long list of reasons given under section 11 that you can refer. Okay. So this is about prohibited goods. I hope it is clear.
Sir.
Refer,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
refer section 11 thoroughly.
Okay.
Now, after section 11, there are two specific descriptions are given. One is called notified goods. Another is called specified goods. So section 11A to 11G, those are notified goods. And 11H to 11M, those are specified goods. Questions are rarely asked on those topics, right? I'll just show you there. See here. Detection of illegally imported goods and prevention of disposal thereof. These are referred as notified goods. 11A to 11G. See here, definition, notified goods. See, okay. Notified goods means specified in the notification issued under section 11B. And this is to prevent illegal import and circulation of illegally imported goods. Specified goods are just opposite. The goods which are likely to be smuggled out of India. Right. So those are specified. Notified are which are likely to enter in illegally in India. Those are notified goods. 11B, 11C, 11D, 11E, F, G. So these are notified goods. Then we have, these are specified goods, 11H to 11M. These are called specified goods. So 11H going up to 11M. This is the last. So these are few more provisions as far as notified goods and specified goods. Okay, just keep it noted somewhere. We'll cover it sometime later on because these are not relevant portion for any exam. We should be knowing that it is good enough, so we'll cover up. So keep it noted, notified goods and specified goods. I'll cover up those. Right now, I'll give you references of the goods which are used in the Act. References of goods under the Act. Now you have to answer me. What is the meaning of imported goods? What is the meaning of imported goods? Tell me.
The goods brought into Indian territorial waters, but on which duty has not been paid.
Yes, goods brought to India from outside India, but on which applicable duty has not been paid. Right. So whether in territorial waters or even the goods lying in the warehouse, all those are imported goods. Okay. What are warehouse goods? Imported goods deposited in the warehouse,
Yes, sir.
isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And the reference will come warehouse goods. What is the meaning of warehouse goods? Certainly these are imported goods. What are imported goods on which applicable duty has not been paid? And the goods are deposited in the warehouse. Those are referred as warehouse. What are transit goods? Goods on board any conveyance which are not unloaded at the place of arrival. Goods on
Are
board
not-
any conveyance which are not unloaded at the place of arrival. Those are referred as transit goods. Then we have reference of
Transshipment.
what are transshipment goods?
Goods unloaded as custom port, airport, and sent to
Goods
some other.
unloaded at the place of arrival, and therefrom those are sent to some other place in India or outside India, but without paying any duty. Those are referred as transshipment goods. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then notified goods. Declared under section 11B. Specified goods. Declared under section 11I. Export goods. goods brought at the place of export and in relation to which bill of shipment or bill of export has been filed. Only bringing the goods at the place of export, that doesn't make the goods export goods. Goods brought at the place of export and the relevant documents are filed, then those are referred as export goods. Clear? So these references you can find somewhere. When we talk about these references do come, but if the meaning is clear, it is good enough. I'm starting a long topic. It may take us 3 lectures. It may take us 4 lectures. And when we have completed this topic, you'll find that we have completed almost the entire act up to section 90, right? Why? In import, first portion is arrival and unloading. These provisions are covered from section 29 up to section 38. Those many sections will be covered in this portion. Number 2, custody and removal. These are provisions from section 44 to 49. Number 3, assessment provisions. Section 12 to section 26. In this itself, section 15 is evaluation and, or rather section 14 is evaluation and evaluation rules. In this itself, we'll talk about in this chapter, we'll also talk about baggage. Section 77 to 81. After that, what is left? Duty drawback, refunds, calls, demands. Very small topics are left after we have completed this thing. And we also have to cover in this chapter itself custom tariff act. That is types of duty. Right. So almost entire syllabus up to section 90 will be covered when we have covered up all this. What do you think? So what is left? If you look at the sequence, up to section 11 we have already done. Section 12 to 26 is here. 27, 28, that is regarding the assessment, demand, refunds, etc. Right. So that is not a part of this. Then 29 to 38 is here. 39 to 43, those are regarding export. Then 44 to 49 are here. Right. Then section 50, 51, 52, those are regarding export. Then 53, 54 regarding transit and transshipment, very small provisions. Then we have warehousing 53 to 57 to 73A. 74 to 76A, those are regarding duty drawback. 77 to 81 onward, those are here. Right. Then 82, 83, 84, those are regarding export by post. 85 to 90, those are regarding export. Very small provisions are left thereafter. Whatever is left other than these, hardly one lecture. Hardly one lecture, and those portions will be taken care of. So I said this may take us 3 days, this may take us 4 days, this may take us 5 days, doesn't make a difference, but we have to complete this portion. Okay. So right now we are going on section 29. This is about arrival. This is any vessel or aircraft coming to India, certainly from a place outside India. Where it should arrive? There is a general situation, there is an emergency situation. In emergency, nothing applies. But in general situation, any vessel or aircraft coming to India from outside India carrying people or baggage or both should arrive only at a custom port or airport appointed under section 7. Right. Where it should arrive? Only at a place appointed under section 7, not at any other place. Right. I'll show you that section 29 first, then we will discuss about that. Advance ruling. This chapter you can read on your own as well. Arrival of the vessel and aircraft in India. This is person in charge of a vessel or aircraft entering India from a place outside India shall not cause a permit of vessel or aircraft to land or call for the first time after arrival in India or at any time while it is carrying the passenger cargo brought in the vessel or aircraft at any place other than a custom port or custom airport, as the case may be, unless permitted by the board. So unless permitted by the board means board has authorized, board declares some other place as a custom port, airport, or maybe on temporary basis, then that is okay. Otherwise, only at a place appointed a custom port or airport under section 7. Then subsection 2 is in case of emergency, what should happen? So this says the provisions of section 1 shall not apply in relation to any vessel or aircraft which is compelled by accident or stress of weather or any unavoidable causes or call or land at a place other than custom port airport, then the responsibility of the person in charge. So under section 29, there are two situations. One situation is general. And another situation is emergency situation. What is called emergency? Emergency means what? Tell me, what is the meaning of emergency?
Urgent necessities.
Something unexpected.
Something unexpected.
During the war time, sir.
No. Just asking for a meaning of the word urgency, or rather emergency. Not in relation to customs. Emergency means what?
Unnatural event.
Hmm?
Unnatural event, sir.
Unnatural.
Event, it says.
Event or happening.
Mhm.
Something which needs an immediate action.
Something which needs an immediate action, right? So what I'm writing, you can write it in the margins. That has nothing to do with the customs. Emergency. This is a situation emerging out of urgency, right? So emerging and urgency, these words combined together, that becomes emergency. An emergency word doesn't have any specific meaning. It doesn't have any specific meaning. It carries a different meaning in every situation, right? Say, for example, medical emergency is one type, right? Then weather emergency, that is another type of emergency. Political emergency, that is altogether different. Market emergency, that is stock market emergency, that is a different type of situation. So as such, emergency word does not have any specific meaning. In every situation, it carries a different meaning. But the conclusion is that there is a situation which is emerging out of urgency, and urgency means requiring urgent action. Requiring urgent action. So is this meaning clear? What is the emergency?
Yes, sir.
Now, in general, unless permitted by the board otherwise. Who is authorizing? The board. Which board? Central board. Hmm? Here we can add only at a custom port or custom airport under section 7. So any vessel or aircraft coming to India from outside India, unless otherwise permitted by the board, should arrive only at a custom port or custom airport appointed under section 7. Right? Further, it says, as long as it is carrying any goods or passenger brought from outside India. As long as it is carrying any goods or passenger brought from outside India, it should continue to arrive at custom port, custom airport only. What is the meaning of this line? Think of it and tell me what is the meaning of this line.
If it is empty, it can come anywhere.
Cannot be empty. Logically think, can it be empty at any time?
And also consumed.
No. Logical. No? Now let me tell you how the logic is to be applied. This vessel or aircraft must be having at least fuel.
Yeah, so it will be stores.
Yes. And the stores are good.
Goods.
Goods.
Clear? Or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this says, once you have arrived in India, that is point number one. It does not mean that now you are free to roam around in India. If you are carrying any of the goods or passenger brought from outside India, continue to do that. Now imagine that one aircraft is coming from Singapore to Mumbai, and in between it lands at Kolkata. Lands at Kolkata. Some of the passenger disembark there. Some of the baggage is unloaded at Kolkata. What about the remaining passenger coming from Singapore? What about their baggage? So after landing at Kolkata, it is not free to go to any airport in India. It will have to come only at a custom port or airport as long as it is carrying the passenger who are coming from Singapore, and there is any baggage or any goods which are brought from Singapore. It will have to come only at a custom port or custom airport only. Now read this again. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't sound good.
Yes, sir.
Now, what in case of emergency? Now, this is the normal situation when everything is all right. Right? What about emergency? So, can I clear this portion?
Yes, sir.
Now, this emergency, this can be mechanical, this can be medical, this can be environmental, anything, any kind of emergency it can be. In this situation, first thing is arrive at any place in India. If there is an emergency and if still the provisions are same, it is going to be a problem. Say the vessel is on fire and you put a condition, no, you arrive only at a custom port. By the time it reaches custom port, the vessel may not be there. Isn't it? So that's why that condition is not there. So arrive at any place in India. But when this permission is given, special obligations are there. The person in charge. This is the proper definition, person in charge. In relation to aircraft, it is the pilot. In relation to vessel, it is the master or captain. Right. He is referred as the person in charge. The person in charge shall. Now these are obligations. If it is a genuine situation and where it is possible, because in case of emergency, quite possible, even giving the intimation is also not easy. And how do we know if you land at a random place, where is the custom officer, where is the police officer? So wherever practical, inform nearest police or custom officer. Number B. Follow instruction of the officer. Number C. Not allow removal of goods or departure of person, departure of any person from the place. These are obligations of the person in charge of the vessel or aircraft which has landed at some other place because of emergency. Emergency, I said, it can be mechanical, it can be medical, it can be environmental, or it can be something else. And if you arrive at some other place, then the person in charge shall. These are obligations. Number one, inform. Number two, follow the direction. Number three, do not allow any person to leave that place. Do not remove the goods. But what if it is a medical emergency? So, an exception also, there is an exception. Particularly clause C. Doesn't apply where it is necessary to save life or goods. So if it is a case of medical emergency, then certainly the patient plus some more people will have to depart from their place, take him to the medical facility at the earliest possible. And if by chance there is something by which the goods are likely to be destroyed, then remove the goods at the earliest possible so that those are not destroyed. So in exception also, there is an exception. The first exception is in case of emergency, you can arrive at any place, not a problem. And when you arrive at any other place, there is obligation. What is the obligation? First, the person in charge. Who is the person in charge? In relation to vessels, it is the master or captain. In case of aircraft, it is the pilot. Right. First obligation, inform the nearest police officer or the custom officer. Then number two, follow the instruction given by that officer. Number three, do not allow any person to leave the vicinity and do not allow the removal of any of the goods. But the condition of that removal of goods or allowing a person to leave that vicinity of the place will not be applicable when it is necessary for safety of the life or for protection of the goods. Okay, so this is section 29. Now we can read the entire section 29 and then this will become more clearer to you. Now read this one. The person in charge of a vessel or aircraft entering India from a place outside India shall not cause or permit the vessel or aircraft land to the first time after arrival and at any time while it is carrying passenger or cargo brought in that vessel or aircraft at any place other than custom port, custom airport, as the case may be permitted by the board. So this was general position that I had referred here. Then subsection 2. This is talk about emergency situation. This is subsection 1 shall not apply in relation to vessel or aircraft which is compelled by accident, stress of the weather or any unavoidable cause of the call or land at any place other than custom port, custom airport, but the person in charge of the vessel or aircraft shall immediately report the arrival of the vessel or aircraft or landing of the aircraft to the nearest custom officer or officer in charge of the police station, and shall on demand produce to him the logbook belonging to the vessel or aircraft, shall not without the consent of such officer permit any goods carried in the vessel or aircraft to unload or any of the crew or passenger to depart from the vicinity, shall comply with the directions given, and no passenger member, the crew member, without the consent of the officer, leave the immediately, provided that nothing in this section shall prohibit the departure of crew or passenger from the vicinity or the removal of goods from the vessel or aircraft where the departure or removal is necessary for reason of health, safety, or preservation of the property, life or property. So this is section 29. So whether this section is clear or not,
Very clear,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
right? So first is arrival. Then the next part will be about the unloading. How the unloading is done, there is a complete process. Under section 30, import manifest is filed. Then there can be, then the unloading has to be only in relation to those goods which are mentioned in the import manifest under the supervision of the officer on a working day, during working hours. All those provisions we are going to discuss, but not today. So just go through what you have taken the note today. How much notes you have taken? Quickly. 4 pages or 5?
5, sir.
5 pages. Okay. And how long it takes you to read those 5 pages?
15 minutes.
And how much was done yesterday?
10 pages.
Hmm?
Yesterday heavy, sir. 1 minute.